Hello, everyone. I'm assuming this is live. I didn't even wait to actually that you're live now. But I'm gonna wait until it pulls up on my screen there. Yeah, there it is. Did you get a notification, Nikki?
Yep.
Oh, hold on a moment and we will get started. Dang, my video quality is terrible here. I don't like this internet. It's terrible. I need to probably stop this from playing because it's gonna make it worse. I just want the chat up anyways. Oh, hold on, because I want to post a post on YouTube that I am live, so we'll start here in a moment. For the whole one people that's in here. All right.
Alright, now you want to sit down?
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
You want to go play in the other room? So Daddy can do a video?
What's going on, Michael? All right. So we're going to do first live stream I've done drawing on the whiteboard, which people have been asking me to do these demonstrations for years at this point, and I never have. I just always talk about it in my videos to give people mental perceptions about what I am explaining. Everything I'm going to cover here, I've most likely covered in my videos at some point in time. But we're going to put it all down here on the whiteboard. Creation, how creation works, what this has to do with the god El, which is the god of creation, and how this relates to angels and angels and the letter L, and we'll get into some other words that have L in it, and how this all correlates. So, which I've actually recorded a few videos too, which I'll be putting out when I can get them uploaded on perspective, where I was drawing perspective. So this is actually going to correlate with those videos I've also done. So when those come out, watch those, and you'll even have a better understanding and an overstanding of what I'm going to explain here, which there will be some overlap. And before I get started, like my video, share this video. This is high level knowledge that you are not going to find on many other channels. You are going to have a hard time finding this on YouTube, especially the way that I'm going to lay it out. It is going to be very simple for everyone to understand and coming to an overstanding on how you can utilize this to create and exist in your life. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, and if you would like to, because this is information that people would pay thousands of dollars for. This is very potent information. So if you feel it in your heart to donate to me, my donation information is in the description, and we will get started. So we got El. El is the god of creation. Why is L the God of creation? What is creation? Creation is how things actually come into existence, how things actually are experienced, what you are actually doing out here. That is creation. The other part of the complement to creation is the fermentation or the destruction or the incubation. It's the point that comes before creation, which we're not really going to get into here. We're going to focus on Al here more so, which that part would be Baal, which this is the two main deities. You got El and you got Baal, which if you notice, just everyone, a little gem here. Baal is Bal. The E is an A. You got L and Baal because Baal is really everything. Because Baal is a circle. It's the point, which I talk about that a lot more in my other videos that I will be uploading. And if you're really paying attention, you see that that double A is actually an M. So here, let's have a little fun real quick. If you flip this around, what is a big thing right now? BLM, Black Lives Matter. Wonder why they're using that. Which this has to do with ball, and it has to do with the circle and black, but we're not gonna get into that. So L is an L. That's all L actually is. Because you have to realize that these letters can actually be spelled out. Like X is EK. It's X. EKS. K is KAY. Letters can be spelled out in some way because there's a lot. Each letter has its own meaning to it. But we're going to focus on L because L has everything to do with creation. So L is a part of ball because the ball, we got the circle. And we take the circle and we make pi. We cut it up. We get an angle out of the circle. An angle is an angel. It's the same thing. They're the same words. There's just letters are flipped. It's an anagram to it. We got the point in the middle, which the point is where all existence starts. And we get the L out of it. But how do we get the L? Where does the L come from? Where does creation come from? Why are we only looking at an angle of the whole entire thing? Because a whole circle is 360 degrees. This portion, an L, is only 90 degrees. The reason we cut it up like this is because 3 plus 6 is 9. We get 9. Everything equals 9. Now, L is what we're looking at here. We can cut this up even smaller. We can go like this. Now we got 45 degrees. These are all the degrees that are used in creation. Which 4 plus 5 is 9. This is why 9 is so prominent, because 9 is the number of completion, or the creation is complete. Now you can actually fully experience it. Now you can eat it. Now you can taste it. It's sweet now. And 45 is half. This is all cutting it into halves, because we keep halving everything. Because if we take half of 45, which is 22, what is it? 22.25? No, 0.5. What do we get? 9, which I wasn't even planning on doing that one. It's just, no matter what, when you keep cutting things in half, you're going to keep getting 9. Because that's how creation actually works. We keep cutting things in half. We started with the whole thing. So we started with the whole circle. But then we decided that having the whole circle, we can't experience anything because we got it all. Which we always have it all. But how can you experience speaking to someone? How can you experience watching me right now if you are the whole entire thing? If that's how you see yourself. You can't. So we start cutting it up. X marks the spot. Now we got 4 different quadrants. The forces. This is where you get the 4s. Here, let's get rid of this. The 4s. Because who is it for? It's for you. You did this for you. Because this is all you. 4s is 4s. Because how many 4s are we going to play with? It's forces. Force. This is in Star Wars. This is where the whole concept of force comes from. It's using the whole thing. This is why they're able to manipulate things through the air. This is how they're able to do different force techniques. Because they're utilizing the whole thing. They're utilizing what lies in between everyone, the connection that's always there. Because we're all connected. And that's why I'm doing this video now, is because people need to know this. People need to stop being afraid of what's going on right now. This is necessary because people need to realize the force that they have in them. They need to realize what they're capable of. You're capable of anything because you are it all. So now you can use the force in different ways though. Because just as we made this into 4 quadrants, we now see it like this. Because once we cut up an angle, once we create an L, once we create a deity or a god, it's really 4 different circles intersecting. It's a bad drawing. It's the 4 rings. This is why the Olympics, they chain 4 rings together, because they're using the pattern of creation, which I was just talking about in my other video I was doing. Because every time you cut up the circle, you're actually creating a whole nother circle, because everything's a replication of everything. So even when you create an angle, you're creating another whole, or a whole nother world, or a whole nother circle that you can actually cut up more. You can create more. You can make as many angles as you want. This is how we are all here, because the web and how it is right now, it's extremely elaborate. This is why we don't even see this. We don't see angles. We don't see the each geometrical shape that is on our being, on the body that we are inhabiting. Our body is just made up of polygons. It's made up of different angles. That's all it is. Except we have so many polygons on our body that we can't even discern it because our eyes have glossed over it. They have what is called as anti-aliasing, which is what it's called in animation. When you smooth out the angles, smooth everything over, because it has to do with the M. or the mother or the whole thing. It has to do with the whole thing. And you can do that because of that concept. That's why it's even possible in animation, because we're doing it right now. We've smoothed out the angle so that everything looks more appealing and everything is more subtle and more holistic. It's more healing. It's whole. Everything has a wholeness to it. This is why when we start to make buildings in this dead world that we're in right now, they love to use angles. They're using a bunch of right angles. That's all they're doing in most structures. A holistic structure is going to be in some type of dome pattern, some type of circular pattern. It's not going to have so many angles to it because it's going to utilize more of everything and less of one thing. So back to the X. So X marks the spot. X is where the treasure is buried. X is where the gold is. X is AU, because that's the sign of gold. AU. Gold. Because it's both ways. It's going both ways. As always, we can draw a line there. Now you got the symbol of, almost. You have to do one more, but there's your symbol of creation. It's a sine wave. In Egypt, this was their symbol of life. One more. It's a serpent. This is the waves that we operate in, which I cover that in my other video because I am talking about the points. And we are in between those points. We are in the sine wave. We are in the up and down area. Except we're really not going up and down. It's all perception that we are. We're really right here all the time. We're always right here on the line. Except we tilted our perception so that it looks like we're going up and down, so that we can have up and down, so that we can create things up and down, so we can have depth. So we can look up, so we can look down. It's really not there. It's all perception. We've forgotten all this, most of us. Most of us have encapsulated our mind in an angle, which an angle is a god, is all angle is. This is why religion is so damning to the spirit, because religion keeps you in a part of the whole thing. They only want you to know 90 degrees. They don't want you to know that there's a 360 that is actually the same exact thing. Because they can't control you then. Once you know that you are the force, religion is done. It doesn't exist anymore in your mind. Let's see. So the gold is where the X is. X marks the spot, which is actually what the video is about, so I'm not going to get directly into that, but that relates to this a lot. Because once we marked the circle, once we marked the spot, we got rid of the spot. Because the spot keeps us in contact with what isn't there in existence, or it keeps us focused on death, which death doesn't really exist. But that's what people are looking at when they're focused on dying, when they're afraid to die, when they think of death as having some kind of unknown to it. It's because they're focused on a spot, which that spot truly doesn't exist. We only know it's there because we made an X. That's it. We know it's there because we made an X. Now we can do all this. Because this all came into existence at the same time. You can't have the X without the spot. You can't have the spot without the X. It all correlates. And then we just took one angle. We took one angle for ourselves because we are God in being. But then we created this flat surface, which, let's do it like this. Plus. This is where addition comes from. Addition is audition. It's the audacity. It's the audio. It's your sign. It's you speaking. It's this. A-U is what it starts with. The audition. Because when you audition for a role, you have to play a character. When you're playing a character, you're creating something. This is where acting even comes from, because you have to be an actor if you're going to be here. If you're going to be God in the creation, you have to act some way, however you choose. But you have to act some way. You have to audition. You have to have the audacity to be yourself, whatever that may be. You got to choose that for yourself. But in religion, they choose it for you. Because you don't exist in religion. You're a part of someone else's existence in religion. That's the whole point of religion. They're not showing you how you can do it for yourself. They're showing you on how you can empower the overarching God that is part of what that controls that religion. Let me look at the chat. Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me is on board. So we got the plus here, which is how we get each other. All it is an X turned sideways. And this is why the earth is flat right here. Because we took one of these. We got the blue on the bottom. We got the red on top. Oh, what does this look? This looks like a Pokeball. I don't have purple, but purple would be right here in the middle. That's why purple is royalty. Purple is the combination. This is why they like to pit red and blue against each other. And this is why a Pokeball is just an egg. This is why they keep the monsters inside the Pokeballs, because the monsters are the animals. They know this. They know all this. This is how they operate. This is why they're operating purely based off of instincts and what they need to continue creation. Not survival, not existence, which existence is creation. That's truly what they're operating off of. What do they need to do to keep creating? Because if they can't keep creating, everything ends. This is why animals, plants are so attuned to procreation, to reproducing, because they want to keep this all going. Because if it ends, it all ends. It all ends. You can't just end one part of it. Once it ends, it all ends. It all disappears. It all goes back to, where do we come from? It's like turning your computer off. It all turns off at the same time. The hardware is completely useless if you don't have something running on it. It all ends at the same time. So we got the sky, which they tell us that there's the Van Halen belt above us. We got the fiery sun. That's all this. That's the red. And below us, we're on water. The earth is floating on a huge reservoir of water. The biggest lake in existence is inside the earth. And they have no idea how big it is. They tell us that there's magma down there, which there is fire under there. But that's because of this concept. That's because what happens is because this is how things actually exist, there's worlds on top of worlds. So once you get low enough in the ocean, it will start getting warmer. Once you get low enough into the earth, it starts getting warmer. And that's because you have another one of these down there. It's all interconnected. You have a whole nother world under this world. The same exact way. It's all a reflection of each other. Just like if you were to go through the sun, you are going to end up in water. That's why space, they say, is like water. Because space is water. It's plasma. Which, what is plasma? Urine. This is why you come out of your mother's urine, your own urine. It's the same thing. Because that is where the creation actually happens. This is the incubation. This is where, if we look at an egg, which an egg is nothing more than an angel. We got the yolk that sits at the bottom, which this is an egg. It's just in a circular way. The egg is seeing it from your own perspective, your own ego. So at the bottom is where the incubation takes place. This is where you actually get created. This is where the decaying exists, because you got to decay something to allow it to be created. First, you got to destroy it. Destruction always comes first in the concept of creation. Truly, it's all at the same time. This is where you get the three. This is where you got the force, but you also got three. Because that is the ancient symbol of three. It's 3 lines. But then we decided to, all these connect. All of these connect. So we really don't have 3. We actually got 4. 4 lines. Which, now you got L. This is where you get the 3 things that weave back and forth. Is your hourglass. You got the sand of time that goes straight down the middle, and you are time. You got the X where it all comes together. And you got your angles right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 right angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 right angles. Because you need the 4 to be in this physical existence. Because physical is 5. The 5, or the 5, which we start with an angle for 5, and we draw this. We got this hook down here. The 5 is the middle. That creates the 5. That's why it's high 5. Because it's above you. It's not seen, but it's there. Because your body, it's above you and it's below you. Because your body, I'm going to have to erase some of this to show you, is the cross. Your body is the X and the cross. It's the T and the X. The T is the plus sign. But then you got the reflection of that, which is right here. Because, again, this all correlates. So now we got the T, which who's on the cross? Jesus Christ. You, the Son. You're in the middle. You're the 5. You bring it all together. You're the 5th element. You're ether. You're what holds it all together. You're not the body. The body is the cross. And the cross creates a shadow of an X. This is your shadow. Because that is the angle the sun is going at. It creates that angle right there. A T and an X is the same thing. It's just turned sideways. It's the same exact thing. They're both crossing points. The X goes on the ground. The T goes in the air. Because the T is the X in physical existence. The X is the T in the shadow world, in death, in non-existence, in the absence of existence. Deciding where I want to go with this now. Let me get a drink. Alright, so let's erase some of this. Erase this. Erase that. Delete that. Yep.
Are you done?
Nope. So, L is a god, is an angel. It's all the same thing. And that's because an angel an angel is actually changing a G to a K will always, it makes everything more apparent. Because a K, it's a lot easier to see creation in angles than it is in curves. The curves are deceptive to how creation actually works, which is why this demonic entity that has a grasp on people's minds in this environment uses a lot of curves, because curves are deceiving. That's why, like, if you play baseball, it's a lot harder to hit a good curveball than it is to hit a fastball, because a fastball is straight. It's hard, even a knuckleball. It's almost impossible to hit a knuckleball because of how it can go anywhere. Which a knuckle is, it's like what we're about to talk about here. It's a ankle. A knuckle is an ankle, is the same thing. Because it's all joint. And a joint is nothing more than a point to where you start to move things. You can start to move things. You can start creation. Move, again, is using these same angles. All of these letters use the same angles. Why is that? And we can get rid of the vowels, because the vowels are vowed to us. The vowels are nothing more than points to connect the consonants. We shouldn't even be using vowels. That's part of the problem with this language in English, is the vowels are, they show you death. The vowels get you stuck in infinity, or the 8. They get you stuck in the 8, or the 8 is in one direction because it's past tense. You ate something already. It has nothing to do with what you're doing, but if we can flip these letters around, now we got eat, which is going this way. And that's the direction that most people need to head in, is to the right, because everything's right. If we're looking at it left, we get left behind everything. We get left behind what is actually being created, because the eating is the creation. Because what is right there in the middle of creation? Eat. Because the ion is movement, is motion, because that's what N is. We can get rid of these. N is, which I'm going to get to in a moment, N is energy. N is the Z. N is energy. And the CR is the C, which we see the R. We see the R because the C is the water, and the R is the reflection of it, which is the sun. This is why Ra is the sun god, because it's a reflection. It's to do something again, because everything we're doing is nothing more than a reflection of what we see, which when I say see, I don't mean eyes, not these eyes. This is why I say your eyes lie to you. The eye that you actually operate with to create. We do create with these eyes because what we're taking in is actually what we're putting out. We're actually not taking anything in. We're always putting stuff out. We just see it as we are taking it in so that we can have a fulfillment in our creation, so that we can actually experience it in a more fulfilling way. But people have got lost in the sauce. They got lost in the creation. And now all they do is look with these eyes. They don't see anymore. They don't know how to see. They just look. They look around. They don't know how to hear, because hearing is being here. All they do is listen. Listening is not hearing. Yeah. So you got the Creo. CE creates, or the CR creates the E, which the E is the N. It's energy. It's just written in a different way, because again, E has to do with 3. This is your E. They're always connected. We don't need to draw the other line. It's always connected. Once you know that, you don't need the other line. So you're operating with 3 in creation. This is why the number 3 is so prominent, because we got 9 is 3 times 3, or 3, 3, 3. If we're doing addition, there's different ways we can go about it. But it's all the same thing, because it's all just a sine wave. That's all it is. How many 3s do we want? Have as many as we want. Have as many of any of this as we want. It's as easy as this. It's drawing it on the board. It's that easy. So you got the eat. You want to eat. You don't want to ate. You want to eat. Because if you ate, you're in the 8, which you're in a loop. You're stuck. You're stuck in a loop, or you're knotted. You're not operating in a whole thing. You've got stuck in between 2 worlds, actually. You got the living world and the death world. You're stuck in between two worlds. Now the thing is that the living world has the death world in it. It's just changing how you're seeing it. So you're really taking this and untwisting it to make a circle. Because an 8 is just a circle that has been contorted. It's been twisted in half. That's all 8 is. That's when people start to worry about their diets too much. When they worry about their diet at all, they die. Because diet is to be a part of a deity, is to be a part of someone else's God or religion. It's to go backwards. Because religion is re-legion, to leech onto something else again. Releech. Because a G is a K is a CH. It's all the same thing. So it's too close. So we know ion is movement. We'll get rid of that. We know what that is. Has to do with energy. Re is to do something again. Then we have liege, the leg. Where are your legs at? You stand on your legs. So what are you standing on? You're standing on something that is regurgitated, repurposed for you. So it's the leak or the leech, which then you got the when you add the re in front of it, you're re-leeching or re-leaking someone else. You're just hanging on to someone else's coattails. You're going off of someone else's philosophy, someone else's idea of how everything works. Instead of creating your own, instead of coming up with your own perception of how things actually come into creation. This is how I'm telling you it. You might see it. You might take this and do it a little different. This is how I work with it. This is how I actually see things. Because a leak this is why when you go and pee, you're leaking. You leak. Because that's plasma that you're leaking out. Ultraplasma filtrate. And they didn't tell you that in science, in the medical industry. Ultraplasma filtrate is what urine is. Because urine is you're in. You're in it. You're in space. You are in the plasma. You're in the liquid. Which just goes back to what I was just talking about with how everything is compounded or on top of one another. It's inside of this body too, because that's where we are all actually operating. We're all operating in our body. This is why what happens with our body happens outside and vice versa. It goes every single direction. And when we can start to correlate that what happens outside is why something happens to us physically inside, that then we can start to adjust the dials or the switches of how things are going so that we can stop having accidents. Because there is no such thing as an accident. An accident is just an excuse to not pay attention. An accident is an excuse to not be aware of what is occurring in your life and to actually correlate it to something and to actually get to the root of it and to stop it. People allow it to become a systemic issue. Like religion. Religion's out of control. Religion is what controls everyone right now. Religion is the reason why this world is how it is because everyone's living off of one person's way of existence, which is not based on life. It's based on death. What you can do. That's because just as in the world of life, you also have the world of death. But do you want to operate in death, which is a half of a circle, or do you want an angle of the circle, which you can create as many angles as you want because it's open. The angle is wide open. The angle is open for you to do whatever you want with it. There is no ending to the angle. It goes off into infinity. Any angle you have all of this to do whatever you want with on whatever level you want. It never ends. If you're operating in death or in a D, sunny D, your sun's not a D. It's a whole. It's a circle. It's the whole thing. If you're operating in the D, you're operating in an environment to where you're going to have a lot of things that occur that are decaying or deadly or fractionating, because it's the destruction. It is where things start to break down so that they can be recreated. But when your whole existence is based on that concept, you get what is occurring right now. You get people walking around in masks. You get people not even knowing that what they're doing is harming them, and they actually go along with these satanic religions that are operating in death cults that are in tune with the color black, which is why they say Black Lives Matter, because they're black. They're black magicians. They're operating off of the concept of death because they feel that they need to control people, otherwise they won't exist, which is true. They've been locked out of the light. They've been locked out of the L. They're stuck in Baal's world. People think that they worship Baal. No, they have to worship Baal, because if they don't worship Baal, they won't exist anymore, because El won't let them back. They're done creating. They can't create. This is why they're trying to take everyone else's energy to create with. They don't have the ability to create. They steal everything in this society right now. It is a systemic issue. They steal. That's all they're doing. And this is why they teach people to steal. Even though we don't need to. Because we are El. We can create. We can do this. That's how I come up with this. Because I create. I don't focus on just consuming. I focus on creating, and then I consume. When I feel like it. When I feel like I want to rest. So, back to the ankle. So, the ankle is, people have probably noticed, I think I spelled that wrong. I think it's A-N. How do you spell Ankh? Is it A-H-N-K? I think it's A-N-H-K, right? Yeah, oh, H at the end. I'm missing this. Which that makes sense. Okay. So we got the Ankh. It's been a while since I've been to Egypt, but this all relates because Egypt knew this. The Egyptians used this. So the Ankh is the ankle. It's the same thing. Because an H is L. That's L right there in the H. You've got the E because you've got the you got the three lines that make up the E and the H. 1, 2, 3. But then you also got your L's. And how many L's you got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got your forces. This is your house. This is why H is stable, because you got the top and you got the bottom. You've got the whole house. This is why, or your home. This is why your home is really your being that you, or the body that you exist in, the body that you be in. is really your home. Because home is actually Om, which will cross the O out. Now we got M. Because we don't need H's either, because H's don't use our tongue either. H is the breath. Both ways. Because how many H's we gotta have? We just start drawing lines here. Lines don't end. Lines go on forever. Unless you somehow curve it to end. Which is what occurs. So we got spirituality. It's a spiral. People like to call this hypnosis. Well, what happens if you go like this? You just fucked it all up. Now you can't move. Now you can't live. Now you can't create. This is all they did to people's minds, because our mind is that spiral forever. And then they took it and just split it in half. They split it in half. So now you got your consciousness and your subconsciousness. And most people don't even know their subconscious exists. Most people don't even know their conscious exists, because they're just operating in a conscious environment through their subconscious. They're utilizing both of them all the time. Everyone is. But most people don't realize or know how to use it, which is a whole different subject. So you got Om, you got the M. M is the mother, or Mo, or Moo. Now you got the cow, which the cow, you take the M and flip it upside down. You got the W. The Whoa, woman. Actually, get rid of that E. We'll make it even better here. Man. Whoa, man. This is why women have to do with physicality. Or with the physicality in the water, because they're the sine wave. They're the flow of everything. The man is a stability. The man is the top of the house. The woman is the bottom. And together they make a home. Because the man is truly part of the woman. It's inside the woman. Because we're all flowing in water. We all have both aspects. The society, the death cult, has tricked us that we don't have both aspects, that we're actually operating with half of it, but we just have a certain attunement based on the body that we exist in. We all have both aspects. We all can operate with both. We have to. So the ankle is the Ankh, which the Ankh is you. It's a flower. It's a rose, actually. It's Christ. This is you. This is your body. We just decided that we're going to split our legs. That's all. Our legs are one thing. That we split into two so that we can start actually moving in this environment. And again, this is where you get your X. It's a reflection. You got the T, you got the X, you got the sun, the Ankh, the flower, the tree, the plant, the breath, the house. Om. It's meditation. That's all I'm doing right now. This is me meditating. In creation, in infinity, in everything. This is me mooing. I'm just making noises out here. That's what a cow is doing when they moo. They're creating in the most resonant way possible through sounds and vibrations, because that's all that's actually occurring here. And once you realize that, you know that your voice carries volumes based on the volume that you use. The more you turn your voice up, the more energy it carries. So let's go back to the ankle. So with the ankle, it's really NK. The NK. I'm going to show you how this is actually the same letter, because it all is the same letter. It all comes from the same thing. So N is energy. That's N, which is really all about this. It's EN, energy, which EN is a symbol they use for English because it's pure energy. That's what we're using here. I think that's a logo for some corporation too, the N with a circle around it. I want to say it's an energy corporation. The N with the circle around it. So the N is symbolism of energy. And the N is also a Z. We're just looking at it differently. We just gotta change the reflection, the perception. It's the same thing as a Z. It's just turning 90 degrees. You gotta turn it 90 degrees. We can turn anything 90 degrees. We change how it works. Now we got Z, which this is where people are. Instead of being in their own energy, they're in someone's Z. This is where you get the God that people are attuned with, which is Zeus or Zeus. People are stuck in the zoo. People are stuck in the animal mind, which has to do with death, with how it's being given. And this is where you get the lightning bolt of Zeus. Whoops. It's a Z. That's why he throws lightning bolts. He's throwing himself. It's the whole thing of what they're telling you with Zeus. Zeus is a very jealous God because he can't create and he doesn't want other people to. This is why he was so pissed off when Prometheus gave the fire to the humans, because he didn't want them to create, because he couldn't. This is why he's controlling the gods. This is why he takes control of Kronos, his father, his own father, because he can't do what Kronos does because Zeus is jealous. And when you are jealous, you can't use your creative ability. You get stuck. You get locked out of it. So he had to steal time from its owner, which is Kronos. Kronos is time. So he had to kill his own father, Father Time, to be able to exist and stay in existence. So he takes everyone's time. This is all he's doing. This is all of these religions out here that people are following. They're all based on Zeus. They're all based on this Greek mythology. They're all based on that idea that Zeus is the controller, which is just God. That's how they refer to it as. They refer to it as God. Whatever religion you want to go into where people are just following it, where they're not showing you how to create, that's the God they're following. Zeus. Zeus. So, so you got the, let's erase this. So I just want to give that concept of the N and the Z because they are the same thing. Energy. That's why a lightning bolt is pure energy. It's electricity. Pure electricity. It's energy. And where does it go? The ground. But it doesn't go underground because it can't. Because it's not really the whole thing. It's half of it. The N and the K are the same thing because the K is the N rewritten. It's the same angles. We got a line and we got this angle. And we just took this angle and went like this. That's all we did. Because we're on the K being an N. This is why it's common in the melanated community to use the word nigga because it is energy. That's all it is. They're calling each other energy. That's why they also refer to each other as God because of the spirituality that they actually come from. If we go back and look in time, is based on creation, and what they refer to each other as shows that. The European mindset, which is based on Zeus, does not use that same energy. They use deadly words for each other. Dude. Dud, which is what dude is. They use words that are not uplifting. They use words that are damning, as opposed to giving you the creative power. Which is what you're doing when you call each other gods. Gods, goddesses, kings, queens. You're giving each other the power to do all this because we all do have the power to do all this. This is why the word, let's write it out here, N-I-G-G-A, because we don't want the ER because the ER is turning this backwards. It's turning the re or the repeat of something, it's flipping it backwards, which you don't, that's past tense. Like it's already done. Anything with ER it's been done. Now you're talking about it. It's really not what is occurring because it has been done. Because what you're seeing has been done. It's a reflection of what's already occurred because you do it with your eye. You see it first, then you bring it down here into the reflection. This is energy. That's all this is. We can get rid of the vowels, cross them out, because you can put an X on any vowel. Is all it is. Again, is a point. All vowels are points. And the reason of that is because your vowels are, they don't use your tongue. Your tongue is what allows you to speak consonants because that's what actually starts chopping up this whole thing, is your tongue. That's the angle. L, la, 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 la. That's how we start to create things into this physical existence, is through the tongue. Which, why is it a tongue? T. Tongs. You use your tongs to grab things. You put it on your cross because your cross is where your sun is, which just comes back to your body that you exist in, because we are everything. Sun's in your head, and it also engulfs you. So we get rid of the vowels. We only need one consonant. If we have one G, we don't need two. Now you got NG. Now you got energy. NG is energy. That's all it is. NG. And we can even make it even easier. We don't need the N. We don't need to know what N is. Because N is just the electricity of it. This is why the N is the lightning bolt. It's just the electricity of it. The G is really where you're going to be, because the G is the K. Same things. The G is the K. So just as you can call someone a G, you can also call someone, this is where a G or GE, the business. I look at my phone and I've been live for 66 minutes and 11 seconds. The GE is an energy corporation because the G is the energy. All you need is that G. And the G is K. And if N is electricity, and the K is also electricity. It's just looking at it from a different perception, which when I upload my other videos, you will understand that more. And the K is the book. Right there is a book, our open book. K, and we are living in the book. N. And then we can start to connect all of us. Oh, now we got teeth. Now we can chew on things. Now we can taste it. Because we can't taste things until we start to come together, because we're tasting each other. We're tasting what we're all making. And this is the mouth. Right there. And now you got your nose. Now you can smell it. Now you can smell it. This is it. We're all just monsters out here, existing on a book, the living book. Because again, the book is a box, because you got 4 angles. And here's the other one. The last angle is flat, because we're an open book. We're an open book. Because a K is an X. The same way the book goes up, the book goes down. We can see it completely the other way if we want, but we don't need to, because this is the whole thing. But so is this. But it's just in a little different way, because it's flipped on its head. And I actually have a video on books and boxes in itself, and how books are boxes, and if we don't open that book and take something out of it, just like present, if we don't take something out of the book into the present, just like you would out of a box, then you're missing the point of it. Because the point of it isn't to have an object, it's to be the object. The point of it isn't to stare at the point that you created, it's to do something with it. The point of it isn't to get a new phone, it's what you can do with that new phone. Because people are too stuck on needing new things, needing new points of existence, so they keep going from... We'll draw this real quick, and then we're going to end this. I don't want to make it too long. People are... we're just going to erase right in the middle. The point of I was making with the ankle is your ankle is an L. It is, your body is made up of different points. Joints are points, and it's all connected through your mind. And your mind moves your body. Without your mind moving your body, your body would be inanimate. It would just be a log. Your body has different joints and points in it of angles so that you can actually move. Your body's made up of many different angles of light, many different angels, which is why in a lot of older spiritualities, the body is related to different stars and constellations and gods and deities. That's how they're referred to nowadays, at least. But they're all seen within yourself and how you operate with these different demonic forces. Because they're all angles, they're all angels. So most people are living like this. Point, 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 point. They're going from one point to the next, one point to the next, one point to the next, one point to the next. This is a new phone. This is a new TV. Now, this is a new car. This is a new house. This is a new state. I want to redraw this one. Here, let's do this one. It's Illinois. What's another point that people like to... New child. That's another point. People love to have children for no reason. Now, what else? A year later, this all happens within now we're gonna get another phone. And they just keep doing this endlessly, over and over and over. And they're missing it. They're missing what's going on. Because they're not operating in the creation. They're operating in someone's creation, because they're not making this phone according to them. This phone is made by Apple. Apple. This TV is made by LG. What does LG stand for? Life's good. This car is made by Honda. Honda. Get rid of the H. ND. This house is manufactured by some housing company. We'll do one I know that's local here. Core Homes. The state is made by U.S. This baby, well, this is made by God. Now we get back to another phone by Apple. Or maybe they changed to a different brand. Maybe it's Google's phone now. Who knows? Usually when people have iPhones, they stay with iPhones. And this is how they're operating. These are all made by someone else. They don't see it all from them. But this is all in the same world. It's all in the same creation. It's all coming from the one source. So if you are the one source, all of these points are nothing more than rays of your consciousness. your mind. How many points do you want? As many as you can have. You can have as many as you want, because each one of these is its own sign, its own wave of energy, its own energy, it's its own source of your creation. It all goes back to you. All of it. These are all snakes. Except people are afraid of snakes. They're afraid of what they can make. They're afraid of what they can do, what they're capable of. But this is all you. And each one of these is you. But people don't see it from here. They see it from here and here. Because each one of these is this. Each one of these is its own sun. It all is. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. It's all the same thing. And each one of these all branches out because it's a big web we're in. It's a big web. The web of creation. But people operate from point to point instead of operating in the communication or the lines or the waves or the force or the energy that binds us all together. Ether, aether. And I'm done. That's creation. I'm going to read the comments real quick. Where's my, there it is. Thanks, George. You'll enjoy it when you do watch it. When you get to this point, I just read your comment, and I'm sure you thoroughly enjoyed the video when you do watch it. You got the evening, the evening elf. You got the dark elves. The elves live in trees. Yep, the earth was tilted on an angle. They curved it. 4 guardians. Authentic. Authentic. Yep, soul is water. You got it. Which is also the ancient word for sun. Yeah, all is coded. It's all a codex. This is what code are we using? What code are we operating in? What signs are we using at the moment? It's like right now I'm operating in computer codes. I'm not actually in the codes on the back end, but I'm still manipulating and utilizing the code that was put together to communicate this to everyone. This is no different than a mental code. This is just one that's in this reality in a virtual environment. Yep, R is the ray of energy, or the reflection, or what comes out, what you can hold. You're welcome, Patrick. Yeah, I'll do that for you real quick, Patrick, if you're still here. All right. But the executor, because the executor is the executioner. It's all the same thing. Executor. The execution is what the executor carries out. So we can take the root of this out of it, which is exec. This is why, which I'm going to change because we're working with the C as a ek. We're gonna do a K because it's going to make more sense than with the C. Because the C is curved and it's harder to grasp the concepts when you're working with curved letters. Because they're more feminine, they're more elusive because they're curved. It's the same concept, it's just harder for the mind to grasp it because the mind works in angles when it comes to creation. At least mine does. So the executor, which you got the executor from medieval times, which let's redo that. Got the executor from the medieval times. I do enjoy drawing, so I'm taking my time on this one. Who wore a mask, which it looks like a magician's hat almost. Because the executor was actually, he wasn't just the executor, he was the practitioner, he was the judge, the executor was everything when it comes to medieval times. He didn't just kill people, he actually took care of them. He actually got to know them. He actually, he's the one that planned out, fed, and cared for the prisoners that he was set to execute. It wasn't his choice to execute them. It was the kings or queens to make an example to the people so that they didn't do whatever it was, so they didn't step out of line. But the executor is who really did everything. The kings and queens in medieval times were just fat asses who sat on the throne and gave orders. They didn't actually get out and do the thing. Which truly, the king is the executor, which is why that type of culture or society is what still exists now, because it's based on, I'm going to let everyone else do everything while I sit here and watch it happen. That is a deadly, sinister, very dark world, which is why medieval times was very dark and gloomy and gruesome. The executors were actually very in tune with their emotions and the people with empathy and the energies and everything that was going on with the people that they were caring for and were being told to kill. You also have the executor, or the exec, which is the CEO, or depending on you got the executive offices, which in any corporation, including the United States, you got the CEO, you got the CFO, you got the COO. It all starts from the C though, because it all is coming out from the waters. And it all ends in O, because it's the point came out of the sea. It's floating in it. Whatever's in the middle there is what tasks that they are executing. This is why the executive staff is chief officer. It's always chief. Which this is why this is where you get the C from here, because chief is actually Keef. This is why that there's a rapper named Chief Keef, which is actually from Chicago here. He's not very good, but that's why his name is what his name is. It's the same thing. Chief is Keef. Because actually on in my trust, I'm not the chief. My tribal trust, I'm the Keef. That's how I wrote it. Because I do it how I want. Because it's my world. I create the trust. I create the cross. I put the pen to the paper. I put the ink on the pad. And then you got officer. Or office. Because truly, it's not just one person, it's their whole office. Their whole office is who's carrying out the executive, which is the true controller of everything. And you got the financial, then you got the operations, and there's other ones. This is why it actually all starts from up here. The CEO is the president of the corporation. And the president is president. It's the pre is before. Then we got the side, pre-side. He's before the side comes. He's before the wall. He's before the actual order gets carried out. He's the one that makes the orders. Preside, preside, preside. Then ent is entity. He's the entity that presides all the decisions. He sits in front of every decision in the corporation, including the United States. You got the president, which what they blowing right now, but that Trump, I'm not even gonna draw a trumpet. The Trump is blowing his horn though, because he's the president. He's telling you what's happening. The president's always telling you what's happening. That's why they have to give speeches and quarterly reports and things like that, because they're letting you know the way the corporation's heading. And this is why it is all the executor, because the executor is making decisions, because the decision is what's going to occur. This is why the executor in medieval times had to make the decisions for the prisoners on how they're going to be cared for, because they are the executors. That doesn't mean killing someone. It means caring for someone. It means having being empathetic towards people's feelings so that you can actually make decisions based on what needs to be done for everyone. Well, the thing is with corporations is actually being done based on what the corporation needs. So presidents of corporations are only sympathetic towards the corporation's mindset, because corporations is an entity in itself. And that's all that the president is actually carrying out, is the corporation's ideology, which is the point of the board of members, is to make sure that the president stays with the ideology of the corporation, the board. So then we can see it in geometry with these letters, the eggs, ek. You got the X, because we can get rid of, we can X out these E's. We can even do this. There's a new symbol. This is the executor right there. That's the executor symbol. You got triple X, you got the K. Because a box is a book. Which here's a reference as a B is a 13, because out of 1 came 3. And when you put it together, you get B. So you got a box, and you got a book, which both have to do a creation because they start with B's. And B's have to do a creation. O, O, K. Why B is birth, which they use for baby references, but it really is like a birth of a ship, is when a ship comes into the dock, because you're bringing something to the land. Trade. You're crossing something into the land, you're trading something, you're bringing goods to the land. So we got double O's, so we can get rid of one of these O's. So a book is actually a Bach. A Bach is a magician in himself. But this is where the book and the box are the same thing. This is where K and X are the same thing. Because the ek is nothing more than a reflection of himself. So you got, and his decisions being carried out, and this is why it's going to the right. Is it even on that? Probably not.
I don't know, the notification just came on.
It's on 13%. 13%. How funny. I was just talking about that. That's why we're going to wrap this up here. But we'll finish this. So you got the X. You know what? Which we're all going to the right, but I'm going to do this up and down, because I like to be symmetrical. So we got the X, and out of the X, we're going to turn the X and transmute it into a K. So the X is the point to where we think. The X marks the spot. So we're thinking, because we're the executor, so we have to go into thought, we have to go into our mind and come up with an idea that is going to carry out what needs to be done for the corporation, for the entity as it is. Whether it's the president of a corporation, whether it's the executioner of a person, a human in medieval times, or whether it's you making a decision what you're going to do today. First, you got to think about it. First, it starts up here. Here. It starts in... It starts in a mental place first and foremost. But then when you come up with the idea, you need a surface for it to lay on. So what you are doing is taking the X and transmuting it through energy into a K. Because the K is the book that you can actually now read, you can experience, you can live on, you can turn pages. It's your thoughts in physical form. This is why when you write a book, you you have to think about it before you put something on the paper. Now it comes to you naturally because it's really not even necessarily thinking. It's allowing ideas to flow into you. And you do that through the X point. So you let the energy come in through the X, and then the energy gets imbued into the K, because this is the energy, exec, energy, is why we're using E's here. That goes through the X, transmutes into a different form of energy, which creates the K, which is what is being executed. This is why in computer programs you have an executable, exe file, which is a type of program, the most common type of program. Hey, Junie. I'm about to get off. My phone's about to die. If you didn't see this, go watch this video. It's very, 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 very good. You'll really like it. That's what I do, Patrick. I appreciate the subscription. I'm going to leave that up there for right now. But I'm going to end this video. My phone's about to die. And anyone that's still here, if you haven't already liked the video, like the video. You know this was probably one of the best videos you've ever seen. It was a very good video. I'll probably be doing more live streams like this, so if you like this, subscribe. Turn on the notifications so you actually get all the alerts when I do go live. And you can see me do this. You can ask me questions. I'll go over whatever you want to know. If you're watching this in the future, you have any questions, you want me to go over something specifically, leave it in the comments. Orchestrate a video on it. We'll drum something up. And everyone else, everyone that's here, everyone that's not here, everyone in the future, have a wonderful day. Everyone that has enjoyed this too. My links for donations are in my description. I appreciate it. Anyone that has donated to me, thank you very much. Everyone else, have a wonderful day. Take care. Regardless, this information will be put out because it needs to be. And I gotta turn my phone off, actually. Not my computer.